안녕하세요.
Hello, Governor
Hello.
Kim. Thank you so much for joining me here
Well,
at the
thank
New
you for
York
having
Stock
us.
Exchange.
Thank you.
It is our pleasure to welcome you here. So, first and foremost, for our viewing audience, could you briefly introduce your province
Okay.
and tell us about your visit to the United States?
Sure, of course. Well, thanks for having me. And first of all, congratulations on the launch of
Thank
Global
you.
Monitor here at the New York Stock Exchange. Well, let me briefly introduce our province. Gyeonggi province is the largest province of Korea, having about 27% of the national population. And Gyeonggi province is only place where population is, growing and getting younger. And Gyeonggi province is also the hub of economy and industry. For example, more than 30% of the added value of semiconductor products produced in Korea and about 40% of the bio industry. And about 30% of the all the startups of Korea are in our province. So we have the cutting edge industries and hub of our economy. Well, if you compare Gyeonggi province GDP to country's GDP, it would rank 30th, slightly above Norway. Well, for this visit, I have three purposes. First, startup. I was invited to the New York Startup Summit, which will be held this afternoon. Well, I bring 22 startups in our province to make them sort of the cooperation basis with 500 American startups and 30 venture capitals. Second, investment. I have signed two MOUs on my trip. Two American big companies will open world-class battery test center and eco-friendly logistic center in our province. They are gonna invest about $2 billion in our province, so I have signed the two MOUs. Lastly, the partnership. On this trip, I met two governors, Kathy Hochul of New York and Glenn Yeon Kim of Virginia. We have made a really good cooperative relationship between our province and two states, particularly in the area of bioindustry, startup, and semiconductor, and so on, so forth.
And Governor Kim, as you have mentioned, a very eventful and productive trip here in New York City. And you're here at the New York Stock Exchange. You highlighted economic growth when it comes to your province. But of course, economic conditions do differ by country. And we've seen a general upward trend in the global economy during the first half of this year, particularly driven by the U.S. So the OECD recently revised its global economic growth forecast to 3.2% for this year, which is up slightly from its previous estimate of 3.1%, and in May this year. So this does suggest a more stable outlook than the concerns expressed earlier in the year. So how do you interpret the current global economic landscape, including the U.S. economy?
Well, Ravi, as you said, the OECD forecast stable growth this year. Well, however, I am less optimistic. Well, there are so many challenges and uncertainties ahead, that may undermine trade, investment, and economic growth. Well, inequality is worsening, not only inside a country, but also between countries. And protectionism or economic nationalism and climate crisis and geopolitical conflict, all these factors are challenging. Overall, inflation is not under control yet, and I think growth will be sluggish a little bit, although it is not gonna reach a recession. maybe we may call it a quasi stagflation. Well, the U.S. economy will show similar signs. The good news is that job market has been better than expected. However, the prices are still high. And one big factor is the upcoming presidential elections. Well, the result will have huge impact on U.S. and world economy. You didn't mention the Chinese economy, but I think we should pay a little bit more attention to the Chinese economy too. Well, the IMF projected 5% of growth for China this year and 4.5% for next year. Well, I think it won't be easy. And there must be a U.S. trade, conflict. Well, this trade conflict persists, and in sum, China economy will show a slight downturn for a while. So I think we also should pay a little bit more attention, not only to the American economy, but China economy, if we can understand the world economy outlook.
And as you mentioned, the world's attention is being drawn to the upcoming presidential election in the U.S. You are here at the time where we have less than 20 days to go until November 5th. So the winner of this race would indeed have a big impact on the South Korean economy as well. So tell us your thoughts on this.
Well, the race is so close that even ChatGPT cannot predict the result, right? Well, as I said, I met two governors, and we had a chance to talk about, the upcoming presidential election. And two governors implied their hope, but they agree that it is an extremely close, race. Well, I think I know the answer, but I won't say it because I do not want to get in trouble. Well, but one thing is clear. Whoever wins, the Korea-US alliance is strong and will get stronger. I'm quite sure two countries, the relationship will be and should be strengthened. Well, whoever wins, the new president will adopt bold industrial policies to assist American businesses and put pressure on China. Well, if Harris wins, it means Biden-like policies will continue. Then there will be more predictability for the world economy. Well, industry-wise, renewable energy, battery and chips will get more promising, I think. On the other hand, if Trump wins, more uncertainty is expected. There will be more pressure on certain policies like the tariffs, tax cuts, and border control. So industry-wise, defense, petroleum, and conventional industries will see advantages, I think. Well, the election is just 2 or 3 weeks away. I don't want to speculate pros and cons of Korea following who wins. But what I can say is that Korea needs to prepare for either president. Maybe a bit more if Trump is to win.
And Governor, you have highlighted a lot of macro landscape issues that we've been paying attention to. And of course, when it comes to uncertainty, that has been a theme that has played out across the markets, not just here in the US at the New York Stock Exchange, but around the world. So just building on what you have said, I do want to shift our focus on over to Korea and the growth that we've been seeing. So when we look at Korea, a surprise growth in the first quarter of 2024 of this year, this raised expectations, but at the same time, the economy did contract in the second quarter. So, 8 global investment banks have recently lowered their growth forecast for the nation by 0.2 percentage points, and also the KDI, the Korea Development Institute, revised its forecast for this year's growth from 2.6% to 2.5%. So, can you give us your analysis of Korea's economic situation?
Sure, of course. Well, Remy, as you said, the KDI lowered its growth forecast from 2.6% to 2.5%. And similarly, Bank of Korea also lowered from 2.5 to 2.4% for this year. But for next year, the forecast says about 2.1% growth. Well, I think, however, it seems challenging to me. Well, to summarize Korean economy, exports are not bad, mainly due to semiconductor, but consumption and investment are not recovering yet. This causes some problem. What I, however, concern more is that the economic sentiment of ordinary people is very low. Well, macroeconomic statistics cannot say the whole. There is big gap between macro statistics and ordinary people's lives in Korea. I would call this a trap of the average. I have urged the government to change its economic policy directions for a long time. This suggestion is not only from one of the opinion leaders of Korea, but also from my experience as the former Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister of Korea. In the short term, for example, the public finance must play a bigger role. We need a bolder expansionary fiscal policy. On the other hand, in the long run, we need structural reforms in the area of the pension, labor, welfare, and education for a more sustainable economy. Well, however, I have a very strong confidence about the Korean economy. There always has been challenges and obstacles, but we have always overcome those challenges. Well, this is how Korean economy has become what it is today. So I am pretty much confident that Korean economy will overcome these challenges and grow even better.
And Governor, this program here is closely watched by investors. So do you consider the Korean market to be an attractive investment destination? And in addition, which markets do you see as particularly significant at the moment?
Well, let me say this. Well, there is nowhere like Korea for investment. Well, trust me, I have dedicated most of my life to setting up the economic policy of Korea. And you won't be disappointed if you invest in Korea, particularly in Gyeonggi province. Okay. Well, many people think that Korea is very attractive because of its economic fundamentals and cutting-edge industries. Well, that's right. However, that's not all. There are, I think, more important things, particularly these days. First, soft power. Well, do you know who won the Nobel Prize in Literature this year? Well, Korean female novelist Han Gang got that prize. The first woman ever in Asia, to win it. Isn't it amazing?
It does.
You must know BTS, right? The movie Parasite won the Cannes Award and Oscars. Well, I found yesterday here in New York, out of 70 Michelin restaurants, 11 restaurants are Korean restaurants. Well, this wave of K-pop, K-food, K-culture, K-food and even K-literature are sweeping over the world. I think this is one of the very important reasons for the attractiveness of Korean economy. And second, human resources. Over 70% of high school graduates go to college in Korea. This is highest rate among OECD countries. So this means Korea is very well equipped with high qualified, the labor force and human resources. Well, Korea is ranked number 1 in the European Innovation Standard for 12 consecutive years. Well, so this is why I'm saying, well, there is no, country like Korea for investment. Well, you also asked me to recommend other market to invest. Well, I cannot find any other market more attractive than Korea, but if you insist, I would say the global south. When I was the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister of Korea 6 and 7 years ago, I was responsible for Korea's new southern initiatives to strengthen our economic cooperation with countries ranging from Asian countries to India. So, well, out of global south, well, I would pick 2 eyes. It's India and Indonesia.
And based on what you have said, I am sure you also have an opinion on which sectors that the government should focus on when it comes to fostering future growth. So what are those sectors?
Well, I think that's a good question, Remy. I would like to summarize into 3 alphabets, new A, B, C. Well, aerospace, bioindustry, and climate tech. Well, aerospace has huge impact on upstream and downstream industries such as ICT, AI, big data, defense, display. So this is very important. Well, bioindustry is expected to grow 3 times bigger than semiconductor in the near future. And climate tech, well, I would call it gold rush of 21st century. So, these industries will be our future growth engine. I'm quite sure about that. So I have been strongly supporting these new ABC areas with providential programs and private sector cooperation. But of course, don't overlook legend ABC, which means AI, battery, and chips. Well, in this area, Korea and particularly Gyeonggi province has strong competitive advantages. So I'm gonna continue to support these industries to lead the global market. Well, if I can add one more sectors that I think the most important, particularly for Korea, outside of the industries. Well, I think that's politics. So I would say stupid is politics. Okay, well, if I make a parody, right? Well, the political scenes of Korea is getting more and more divided. Well, anyone not on my side is an enemy. So we should bring people together. So in Korea, well, this terminology is a little bit strange to many Americans, but in Korea, I think political reform is needed for unity and sustainability of the society and the nation. So I think this is really key issues for the future of Korean economy and Korea.
And I think it's very helpful to look at this, especially the sectors with the ABC. So thank you so much for simplifying this for our viewing audience. And I do want to zoom in on the AI space, as you mentioned. And here at the New York Stock Exchange, 2024 has been quite the year for the semiconductor sector here. So that is something that we've been watching very closely. Now, when we think about the rally in AI semiconductor stocks, it is a topic of debate, with some comparing it to the dot-com bubble. But how do you perceive the current dynamics in the AI semi market?
Well, before answering to your question, well, this is amazing. And, you know, the New York Stock Exchange is very kindly, you know, shows our national flag over there. So I am very much honored. So thanks again. And it's really my pleasure to be here. Well, regarding your question, the recent AI rally is, I think, somewhat different from the dot-com bubble. Unlike dot-com bubble, that ballooned inside the stock market only, most of the investment in AI is put in real asset and infrastructure. So imagine building a railroad. I think investing in AI is something like that. So the initial cost must be high. However, the return will be even high over time. Furthermore, such investment in AI can bring two important benefits. First, it can drive innovation across the sector. Second, AI applicability can increase even further, where range from the healthcare, finance, manufacturing, to other sectors, you name it. Well, in this sense, I'd like to briefly introduce what I'm doing to support AI sector in our province. Well, there are three things. First, we are planning to set up the biggest AI computing center in Asia by 2028, right in our province. And second, an AI delegated business cluster will be established next year, which will be focusing on robotics, life science, and climate tech industries. Well, third, I have already established a dedicated bureau for AI industry in our provincial government, which is for the first time in Korea. Well, these three things will exemplify how much I and our Gyeonggi province are focusing on AI, the sector.
And you recently also mentioned plans to expand Korea's economic influence into Northeast Asia, as well as the northern region, through economic exchange and cooperation. So, Governor, could you elaborate on the concept of economic unification in this context, and also the potential benefits that you see?
Sure, Remy. Well, inter-Korean relations are now at their lowest point. Tensions are escalating, but please don't forget that South Korea has tried to bring North Korea to dialogue table for a long time. But the current government has insisted peace by might, reversing the long-term approach. Well, whatever happens these days, we must never give up pursuing dialogue with North Korea. So in this context, economic cooperation can and should be the starting point for those efforts. And I think that's the best way. Economic unification can be defined as a gradual increase of exchange of merchandise, capital, technology, and people. By doing so, two countries can build mutual trust and ease tension. Well, of course, this cannot be done overnight, right? Like building blocks, we have to move step by step, patiently, over a long period of time. Well, in stock market, where Korea discount is often mentioned, meaning South Korean companies are undervalued. Well, however, if economic cooperation brings down this tension, the Korea discount can turn into, Korea premium. I have a very unique experience. When I was the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister of Korea, well, Inter-Korean Summit Declaration was made in 2018. Then President Moon Jae-in told me to prepare the economic cooperation talk between two Koreas as the head of delegation. So I did prepare myself with my ministry. The idea, economic unification, I have advocated is something I have continuously developed since then.
And finally, Governor, I do want to ask you, we have been highlighting the fact that 2024 is a U.S. presidential election year.
Right.
And Vice President Kamala Harris has emphasized an opportunity economy to strengthen the middle class. That is a term that you have also used. So could you explain your vision for an opportunity economy and how you personally plan to implement it?
Well, sure. Thank you for asking that question. Well, I have to check when Vice President Harris started using the term opportunity economy, because I first coined it in my book more than 4 years ago. So maybe I should claim my intellectual property right. Well, the reason I have been pursuing the opportunity economy is very clear. I think there is one big common reason behind many socio-economic challenges of our time. Like inequality, low growth, low birth rate, and so on and so forth. I think that's about opportunity. So I mean, there are two things: not enough opportunities. Second, opportunities are not fairly distributed in the society. So the ultimate goal of Gyeonggi province government is first to create more opportunities, and the second to ensure a fair distribution of opportunities. So first, to create more opportunities, I am pushing forward innovation and dynamics of our economy by supporting, as I said, new ABC, AI infrastructure, and also promoting startup activities. Well, second, to ensure fair distribution of opportunities, I am expanding investment in people, especially in education. And I also focus on improving, welfare system, strengthening social safety net, and supporting the livelihood of low-income people. So everything I do as a governor or as a politician comes down to this: more and equal opportunities for all. That's what it's all about.
Well, Governor Kim, it has been a wonderful opportunity for me personally and for our viewing audience to welcome you here on the show and to welcome you to the New York Stock Exchange. So we thank you so much for your time today, and we thank you for the opportunity to learn more about Korea.
Well, thanks a lot, Remy, for having me and providing me with this wonderful opportunities. I will have the another chance to talk with you and audience.
Well, it was delightful hearing about your perspective, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.